Countertops are prime real estate in the kitchen, and it drives me crazy seeing clutter on them. Like cooking utensils, or these old-fashioned knife blocks. And if you're sick of it like me, what the? Then good news, because I'll show you how to make something to get this off your countertops using something like that. And as an added bonus, I'm going to show you how to make super quick, easy, cheap, professional looking drawers that only require a few tools. To start with, you're going to need a utensil bin and straw knife block holder. I was planning on needing 2, but ended up needing 3 of these. All of this I got from Amazon, and we'll put a link in the description. To make the body of my pillow, I ended up using some scrap 5/8 inch and 1/2 inch thick Baltic birch for this. 5/8. Honestly, you wouldn't need too much material for this project, which is the beauty of it, which is great to use up some scraps lying around. First thing, I had to rip some stuff up on the table saw, some lengths for the sides and fronts and backs, which I made 3 inch tall from 5/8 inch thick plywood. However, you can make them smaller if you like. As for how long they need to be, we'll get to that later, but more than likely the longest pieces won't be over 22 inches in length. Now I should mention I have some fancy tools like a CNC machine that I could program and cut the parts out in a few minutes, but to prove to you that you can do this with some basic woodworking tools, I'll suffer and make this with some standard tools that most hobbyists have, like a router table, which is where we need to take our pieces next. Got our bit to the right height. I'm gonna cut into my piece by about 5 millimeters, actually an extra millimeter, 6 millimeters. Give myself a little wiggle room. I have a fancier router table that has a digital gauge and fence, but you don't need that. Basically, I'm using a 1/2 inch router bit to dado a 1/2 inch groove for my bottoms to slip into, which you'll see in a bit. I'm also leaving 5/8 of an inch of material before the dado, which will be for my hidden soft close slides that I'll be using for the pullout, which will also make more sense shortly. For my cabinet, I'm using concealed undermount soft close slides. There are several brands you could use. I'm using a brand called DTC. However, this is almost identical to a more popular brand such as Blum tandem slide, which are fairly common. You will need to establish your drawer box overall width and depth by measuring the inside width and depth of your cabinet. I have room enough for a 22 inch deep drawer slide on a regular 24 inch deep cabinet. Now time to make a few cuts. You'll need 4 sides, all the same length, and for me that number is 558 millimeters, and 2 fronts and 2 backs that are again the same length, and for me that is 277. And to make everything the same length, I just clamped the stop in place and made all my cuts. Set up the stop here, stop my piece at the same spot every time, and make 4 pieces exactly the same, while using a backer board to prevent the plywood from chipping out on the back side. No chipping. Got our side, got our front and back. Now we need our bottoms. In this case, we need a bottom that will be 258 wide. So I'm going to subtract a millimeter, 257, and by 537. To get the placement of the knife holders and utensil bin, it's probably just easier to temporarily assemble the drawer and place your slides in place. Got my drawer. It's not put together, just loosely. And we got it flipped upside down. And to figure out the placement of our bins and stuff, we're going to pay attention to one important thing. And that's our slides, and I'm going to be using these soft close type slides. These are DTC Brand. This part of the slide here ends up being flush to the inside. So we got to make sure that when we put this in, probably going to need to be center and that we have enough room. Other thing is with these type of slides, they have these little click-in clips. That's going to be fitting there, and this one's going to be fitting here. Here's where I'll be careful. This will be at the front of your drawer, flip over, and if I put this at the front, I can't cut this right out at the front because it's going to interfere with my clips. So I'd have to stay back that far or keep this at the back. And same thing goes for my knife holders. I won't be able to put them side by side like that because they will interfere with my drawer slides and the clips. So to do this, I can stack them like that. I only have two. I'm gonna get a third one on order because I want all sorts of room for knives. Just notch this out for these slides to fit down flush to the bottom. Got our notch in the back, and that's going to allow us to run that in there. We need to put 2 holes for these pins to slip in. And there you have it. I don't have a huge lip on this thing, so I can't go ham on my cut. I gotta stay pretty tight. If the cutouts worked out, I just used the miter saw to start my rectangular cut and the jigsaw to finish it and cut the bin hole. It's important to prescribe your cut with a knife to prevent chipping out the grain with the jigsaw. Honestly, it was killing me to do the cutouts like this because I got this machine here. Just I press a button and bzzz. But for you guys, to show you that anyone can do it with basic hand tools, there you go, and the test. Nearly ready to put this together, but before that, we should sand it. There are pencil marks and other marks off of here. Make it look pretty. Slight bevel on this actually sometimes helps things slip into place. Just a slight bevel there too helps fit into the dado without peeling up the veneer, so that's a good thing to do. We're gonna get the front and 2 sides. I'm just gonna kind of lay them out the way they need to go. I will use a little CA glue and some activator. Some on one side and activate the other side. And then we will just kind of roll this together. I'll make this really strong. We're going to put a couple screws in, and we're going to not put them in from the side. We're only going to put them in the front because they will be hidden. That'll make more sense shortly. The other thing is you got to be careful. You don't end up drilling in line with the dado, so you got to stay just above that point. Now, I'm going to slide our bottom in. Going to grab one of our back pieces and glue that in place. There you go. Cool part is that's all you see. You won't see these screws. You'll see why in a bit. The last part needing to be made is a box that will hold the knife block strong. To do this, I just figured out the size and then cut some plywood to suit. But to keep things looking nice and clean, I mitered each corner on the miter saw, which will be assembled with a little tape, glue, and some nails. Just thought I'd double check everything was working out, and it appears I am right on the money. That wasn't exactly planned to be that tight, but it doesn't matter. It will be just fine. Works out good there. Groovy. Once I had all my parts assembled and sanded, it was ready to get a finish on it. I sprayed mine with a couple coats of lacquer. However, I realize not everyone has a spray booth, but feel free to use whatever finish works for your situation. To start with, we'll just get rid of this door that's here. We'll turn into our pullout, and then we're going to figure out the height of our top drawer before we do our bottom. We got to take into account that we leave enough room for utensils to not hit this on closing, same with our knife handles. So we're going to want to mount our top of our drawer somewhere around there. Just going to mark that out. I'm going to put from the front edge to the center of my first hole 2 1/4 or about 55 millimeters, and we're going to just take the screw and start our hole, making sure it's no longer than your gable, especially on this side. It would matter because I can go into the stove. Take the slide, start the screw, pull it out, use the screw as a pivot point, and with it pulled out, it's got kind of a counterbalance. And you can hold your slide, put in some more screws just to make sure this slide doesn't go anywhere. So you can grab some 5/8 number 6 screws. They go up to the front and screwed down. Even with a 1/2 inch bottom, these shouldn't come through. That should be on the outside, not on the inside like that. That's how you remove your slide. With the clips in place, it's time to fasten my knife block holder in place from the underside with a few screws short enough that it won't pop out the top side, but long enough to get some bite. And just like that, toss that sucker into place, locking it into the drawer clips, checking for that also smooth, soft close action. Nearly there. Earlier I had made a board that will tie the two separate drawers together. Just space it off the bottom of the cabinet and center it from side to side and screw it in from the face side into the drawers, sinking the screw heads flush but not protruding. And if you did everything right, this board will sit flush to the face of your cabinet box or slightly inside. I was a little excited and installed my bin and knife block holders in place. Missing a third one. Third one is on order. Won't be here for a month. Canada Post is on strike, which probably will mean that I won't see it for a month and a half or more, so I'll make do with just that. But it would be better if you installed your drawer fronts first. I just used my existing handle screw holes to drive a couple temporary screws in place so I can bust some screws in from the backside into the door to lock it all together. Just drill out and install your handle and you're ready to start using your new knife block utensil bin pullout with additional storage for pots below, making all sorts of newfound room on your countertops. By the way, if you don't have a handle hole to use to install your drawer front on, then you need to check out this video right here on how to install tricky drawer fronts. And then like and subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks for watching.